Hey everyone, okay, so today I'm going to be talking you through the Eye Phi technique, and this is a technique that Rae Morris introduced in her amazing makeup book, and I'll put a link to the book in the description bar, because even though you're going to see this video, it's worth buying because it's a treasure trove of information. But the Eye Phi technique can be quite complicated, especially when you're reading it. It's easier to see it. So what I'm going to do in this video is show you how to do it. Now bear in mind that the technique is to be used on your eye shape. So the final design on my eye shape will look different than yours because we all have different shaped eyes, but it will work universally. You just need to follow the principles. So I'm going to zoom in and we'll make a start. So first thing you're going to need is a pencil and a really sharp one. So I'm going to etch this out with pencil format. So the first thing you want to do is find the lowest point of your eye. So where it dips the lowest. So that's going to be here, kind of right in the middle of the eye. Then you want to find the highest point, which is right here. So you just want to draw a little dot so you can see it. The next thing you're going to do is you are going to draw a line underneath the eye, and you want the line to be straight. You don't want to curve it around like this. You want this line here to basically be a straight line. Now this is where it can get complicated because as you can see, that's more of a diagonal. That is absolutely fine. All you want to avoid is the curve. You want to avoid this under eye curving here. So you want to keep this line here straight. And at this point, you're just going to stop because we'll connect it in a minute. So that's the first point, and it's easier to work with a pencil to begin with because you need to find the placement. So what we want to do is we want to connect point A, which is here. So this is point A. We want to connect point A to point B. So the easiest way, and again in the book, the shape looks very rounded. It's a very round shape here. Forget that. Just think that you're now going to draw a line and it's going to come up here, and don't worry if it's rough, and it's going to reach the highest point. That's all you need to think about is it now level with this highest point? So when my eye is facing forward, you can see that it's now level with this highest point. So now you can close your eye, and I'm just going to now fill in right here, this outside corner, and bring it to that top point, that little dot that we've just created. So bring it right to that top bit, and don't worry that it's not neat. You don't need to be concerned about that at the minute. So now all I'm going to do is just fill in this little gap here of skin, because it's an annoying bit of skin, so you need to make sure that it's filled in. So if you're looking straight ahead in the mirror or in the camera, generally speaking, you'll see in a minute, this is the most flattering shape for my eye because it pulls the eyes apart. It gives the illusion the eyes are being pulled apart. So what I'm going to do is just going to take my finger, because we used a pencil, and I'm now just going to lightly start to smudge and blend this. So now what you've got is, so it's slightly more blended than it was. Now you've got this space. Now this space here is going to look different on everyone else because everyone's eye shape is different, and we can fill that in at a later point. Make sure your pencil's sharp. So now with Rae's technique, she extends the inside corner here with the eyeliner. We're going to do that with shimmer instead in a minute. So I like to just fill in this outer corner a little bit darker because this tends to be the area of skin it's just ugly on a lot of people, and I have a vein that travels through my eye which makes it look like there's this crease there. So I'm going to darken this area and then just use my finger to blend. So now we're just going to use our pencil, and in a very, excuse me, in a very faint line, we're just doing the eyeliner so that it meets this top bit. So now what I'm going to do is take a very light brush and I'm just going to extend this eyeshadow a little bit just to soften it, the edge. So now I'm going to take that same brush and I'm going to use a really light shimmering shade and I'm going to highlight this inner corner right here, but I'm over exaggerating it. So I'm over extending the tear duct area ever so slightly. And that will give the illusion that the eyes are longer than they really are. So now the eye is coming out here and it is coming out here. So we've extended the length of the eye. Remember, I'm using these colors to so it shows up on camera. You can use any color you want and you can be as subtle as you want. So now we've got this inner corner here. Now we can add any color we want here. Predominantly though, it should be lighter. Now there's going to be a lot of people asking, well, why have you stopped the shadow here? Why haven't you gone all the way in? The reason being is because by going in here, we're rounding the eye. And what we want to do with the Phi technique is pull the eyes out. So it's very Egyptian looking eyes. That's what we want to do, is to pull the eyeshadow out. We don't want to round it. That's why I've stopped it before the halfway point or just before that high point, because we want to keep everything moving out. So I'm going to put a little bit of a light shimmer shadow here. And I'm just going to blend it with my finger. Now when it comes to the brow bone, if you have very hooded eyes, highlighting this is just going to really make it look bad. So just highlight, micro highlight the brow bone just to give a tiny, tiny touch of highlight. So next, I'm now going to apply an eyeshadow over this. So we've got the design that we're looking for. So now I'm going to go in with the Dolce Vita shade, the red shade from the palette. And I'm kind of just lightly going over what we've just done. Now I'm going to use the same brush, but clean. And now I'm just going to just feather the edges slightly. And you want to be subtle here and you want to be kind, because you don't want to pull this up too high, because we want to go with the highest point of our eye. We don't want it to be too far up here. So just very lightly just blend it. And it is going to move slightly, but the shape is still there. It's still this effect, which is just lovely on everyone's eye shape, to just extend it slightly. So I'm going to take that same shade and just go underneath the eye. Now I showed you the shape and how to create it with a pencil, but generally speaking, a shadow shield will work just the same and it'll be a lot quicker. So you still go underneath the eye in this straight line. Then you just stick the shadow shield on the outside edge, and you see you can now go up with your eyeshadow and just create that straight line. So it's another way of doing it. So what I'm going to do is put some mascara on, and you can see the finished look from a slight distance, and I'll pull up close as well, because oftentimes I film in 4K, it can be very harsh when it's up close, and from a distance you can really see that kind of Grecian effect, which looks really pretty. So there you go, that's the finished look. So lashes are done, mascara, all of that kind of stuff. So you can now get the idea. So just to reiterate, you find the lowest point of the eye, the highest point of the eye, and what you're doing is you're connecting them at this outside corner. So you're going straight across here and then up to the highest point, and then you're just blending. Now I obviously use my fingers with just a pencil, then a bit of eyeshadow. You could go in directly with eyeshadow, but it's just to create that kind of stencil effect so you can see where you're going. And you know, with this eye, you could make it look wider by putting white on the, or a lighter color on the inner corner, or you could make it look more seductive and darker by putting a darker color in, which is my preferred preference. But you're still getting that feline effect because you've extended more on the inner corner, you've extended out on the outer corner, and you're not following your natural crease. So you're not rounding it too much here. You're stopping at that kind of highest point and just pulling things out. And that is the Eye Phi technique. So I hope that made sense. Great to try it out on yourself to see how it goes and looks. Bear in mind that the first few times you can do this can be quite tricky and complicated. It's not as easy as it looks. It does take a bit of practice, but just try and remember to you're not trying to draw a really straight line here and then try and find it in the middle. You're just going straight across, and then it kind of moves in a more of a diagonal. It's not a curve, it's straight, but then it starts to go in this diagonal. Then it's easier to connect it. And remember, you're connecting it to the highest point. So there is the highest point. So that's where you're coming up. I hope that made sense, and I hope that you found this interesting and helpful, and information on the book is in the description bar as well. There you go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.